Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, fellow treasure hunters, coin collectors, and history enthusiasts. Today, we are about to uncover the fascinating story of a small copper coin that most people overlook, but within the world of numismatics, it holds massive value and historical importance. We're talking about none other than the 2009 Lincoln penny, a modern coin that may still be sitting unnoticed in your change jar, or even in your wallet right now. But what makes the 2009 penny so special? Why are collectors hunting for it? And how can one tiny cent, minted just over a decade ago, be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Stick with us until the end, because we'll reveal how one rare 2009 Lincoln cent sold for a jaw-dropping $35,000, and how you might be holding a treasure without even knowing it. So let's dive deep, not just into the coin itself, but into its rich background, its unique design, the minting variations, and what sets the rarest ones apart from the billions that were minted. Let's go back to the year 2009, a significant moment in American numismatic history. Why? Because 2009 marked the 200th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, as well as the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln penny itself, which first entered circulation in 1909. That's right. A full century of Lincoln on the 1-cent coin. To commemorate this special dual milestone, the United States Mint decided to do something extraordinary. For the first time in decades, the classic Lincoln Memorial reverse design was replaced with 4 special reverse designs, each representing a different stage of Lincoln's life. Let's break them down. Birth and early childhood in Kentucky, 1809 to 1816. This design shows a log cabin, symbolizing the humble beginnings of Lincoln in the backwoods of Kentucky. Formative years in Indiana, 1816 to 1830, this version features a young Abraham Lincoln reading while taking a break from rail splitting, emphasizing his early thirst for knowledge. Professional life in Illinois, 1830 to 1861, depicting Lincoln standing before the Illinois state capitol. This design symbolizes his career as a lawyer and legislator. Presidency in Washington, D.C., 1861 to 1865, featuring the partially built U.S. Capitol dome. This design captures the nation's transformation under Lincoln's leadership during the Civil War. Each of these 4 reverses appeared on a different version of the 2009 penny, and all of them were minted in large numbers. But here's where it gets interesting. Most of the 2009 pennies, those with the Denver Mint mark, are common in circulated condition. But in the world of coin collecting, not all coins are created equal. And some of these 2009 pennies are worth far more than face value. Let's explore why. Point 1. Composition variance. Most 2009 pennies struck for circulation were made with the standard zinc core coated in copper. But a limited number were struck in 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, as part of the special collector's sets. These copper versions are heavier and more historically accurate to the original 1909 Lincoln penny. If you come across a 2009 cent with unusual weight or toning, it could be one of these premium strikes. Point 2. Brilliant uncirculated and mint state grades. Condition is everything in the coin world. If your 2009 Lincoln penny is bright, uncirculated, and shows no signs of wear, it could grade MS 65 or higher on the Sheldon scale. Especially in MS 67 and MS 68, these coins start attracting real money. Even without errors, a flawless 2009 Lincoln cent with brilliant luster can fetch hundreds, sometimes thousands, from collectors looking to complete their sets with top-tier pieces. Point 3. Rare die varieties and minting errors. Here's where the story takes a thrilling turn. Some 2009 Lincoln cents were struck with errors or die varieties that make them extremely rare and desirable. Here are a few to keep your eyes out for. Double die reverse, DDR on some 2009 formative years, and professional life pennies. You can spot doubling in Lincoln's hands, books, or fingers. These errors happen during the hubbing process when the die accidentally receives multiple misaligned impressions. Off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank isn't properly centered under the die. Some coins show dramatic off-center designs, sometimes as much as 50% off. If the date is still visible, the value goes up even more. die cracks and cuds. These result in strange raised blobs of metal or cracks running across the coin. They may seem like flaws, but they're actually highly collectible, struck through errors. This happens when a foreign material gets between the die and the planchet, leaving an eerie imprint. These oddities can fetch thousands when dramatic enough. Point 4. Limited proof and satin finish versions. Coins made for special collector's sets, especially satin finish Lincoln Bicentennial sets, contain much sharper details and a unique texture. If you find a 2009 D with a satin finish and exceptional clarity, it may not have come from circulation at all. It could be a collector-grade piece made for sets and later released or separated. These can bring in significantly higher values, especially in perfect condition. So how does a coin go from being just a penny to a five-figure windfall? Let's piece it together. A rare 2009 D Lincoln penny featuring one of the special bicentennial reverse designs minted with a striking error, or a rare double die preserved in mint state condition with strong luster, eye appeal, and certified grading by a reputable third-party company like PCGS or NGC. Now imagine all of those factors in one coin. That's exactly what happened at a recent coin auction. A collector came across a 2009 D Lincoln penny, one of the formative years design types, with an extremely rare double die reverse and flawless surfaces. The coin was graded MS68 red by PCGS, a near-perfect grade. Bidding opened modestly but quickly skyrocketed as collectors recognized the rarity and condition. The final sale price, $35,000, yes, $35,000, for a penny that most people wouldn't think twice about. So what does this mean for you? It means that treasure still exists in the most unexpected places. These coins could be sitting in your piggy bank, mixed in with your change, or hidden in that old coffee can full of coins in the attic. You just need to know what to look for, and now, you do. So go check your 2009 Lincoln pennies. Especially those with a D mint mark. Look closely at the reverse designs. Search for signs of doubling, cracks, or off-center strikes. Examine the shine, the edges, and the details. It might seem like a simple coin, but in the right condition, with the right error, and the right mint mark, it could change your life. Today's story might change the way you see pocket change forever. In this video, we're exploring a coin that's both historically rich and shockingly valuable. Yes, we're talking about the United States of America 1968 Lincoln 1-cent penny. This isn't just an ordinary penny. It's a coin that, under the right conditions, has stunned collectors, amazed investors, and even made some lucky individuals thousands of dollars richer. But here's the most exciting part. One rare 1968 Lincoln cent has been sold for an astonishing $44,000. That's right, $44,000 for a coin that many people overlook, toss into a jar, or spend without a second glance. So how is that possible? Grab your favorite drink, sit back, and join us as we dive deep into the story of the 1968 Lincoln penny, what makes it special, how to identify the rare varieties, and how this little copper coin has become a hidden gem in American numismatics. Let's rewind the clock to 1968. The United States was going through major historical events. Vietnam War protests, the Civil Rights Movement, and the space race were capturing headlines. It was a time of change, challenge, and transformation. Amidst all of this, the Lincoln penny continued quietly circulating through the hands of millions of Americans. It had already been around for almost 60 years, having first debuted in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Now, by 1968, the coin had evolved from its original wheat ears reverse to the now familiar Lincoln Memorial design, which had been introduced in 1959. But here's what most people don't realize. Even though the design looked ordinary, some of the 1968 Lincoln cents are anything but. Let's talk details. Point 1. The mint marks, why they matter. In 1968, Lincoln pennies were produced at 3 different mints: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; the Denver Mint, D mint mark; the San Francisco Mint, S mint mark. The majority were struck at Philadelphia and Denver. However, it's the San Francisco minted coins, especially the proof coins, that start to stir interest in collectors. But even circulated coins from the other mints can be incredibly valuable depending on a few critical factors. Point 2. What makes a 1968 penny valuable? let's break it down: condition, rarity, and errors. These are the three pillars of value in the world of coin collecting. A. Condition, or grade. If your 1968 penny has been well preserved, meaning no scratches, wear, or damage, it might be considered mint state, MS. Coins graded MS 65, MS 66, or even MS 67 are incredibly sought after. A coin in this condition will show full detail, brilliant luster, and almost no visible marks, even under magnification. B. Rarity. Although millions of 1968 pennies were minted, very few have survived in flawless condition. And even fewer have unique traits that separate them from the masses, such as double dies, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. C. Errors and varieties. Here's where it gets fascinating. Some 1968 Lincoln cents were struck with errors so rare that they became instant collector's items. Let's look at some of the most intriguing types. Double die obverse, DDO. These rare varieties show doubling on the letters in Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date itself. The doubling is often visible even without a magnifying glass. If you find one of these in good condition, you're looking at major value. Repunched mint marks, RPM. These errors occur when the mint mark was punched more than once, slightly off position. The 1968 D and 1968 S Lincoln cents are both known to have RPM varieties, and collectors love to hunt them down. Off-center strikes. When a coin is struck off-center, part of the design is missing. If at least 50% of the design is visible along with a complete date, these errors can be worth hundreds to thousands. Struck through errors. These rare coins have impressions caused by debris or materials that got between the die and the coin blank during minting. The results can be stunning and unique. No two struck-through errors are exactly the same. 3. Special proof coins and high-grade gems. The San Francisco Mint also produced proof coins in 1968. These are not meant for circulation but are struck with extra care and polish for collectors. A 1968 S-proof penny with a deep cameo effect, meaning strong contrast between the shiny fields and frosted designs, can bring in a lot of attention at auctions, and while proof coins are not as rare, perfectly preserved examples with rare errors can become worth thousands. 4. Certification is key. If you believe you have a valuable 1968 penny, don't guess, get it certified by a reputable coin grading service such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These services authenticate and grade coins, providing proof of authenticity and value. Certified coins in higher grades tend to sell for dramatically more than uncertified ones. And at big auctions, certification is non-negotiable. Now let's talk about the real money. What happens when you combine rarity, mint condition, and a dramatic mint error? That's exactly what one lucky collector discovered when they came across a 1968 Lincoln penny with a double die obverse, preserved in incredible condition. This coin showed clear doubling on the date and inscriptions, had minimal marks, and retained its full original red color. It was professionally graded MS 66 red by PCGS, a near-perfect grade for a coin that's more than 5 decades old. When this coin hit the auction block, bidding started strong and only went higher. Collectors recognized it as a top-tier rarity, and the final hammer price, $44,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 1-cent coin, minted in 1968, sold for $44,000. And here's the most incredible part: coins like this are still out there. They're sitting in old drawers, coffee cans, jars of change, and forgotten shoeboxes. Waiting. Hiding. Quietly building value. So what should you do? Start searching, look through your coin collections. Ask your parents or grandparents if they kept any old pennies. Use a magnifier. Learn the signs of valuable varieties. And most importantly, don't underestimate the power of a penny, because sometimes, it's the smallest things that carry the biggest surprise. Today, we're unlocking the story of a coin that most people pass by without a second thought, a tiny copper disc that has traveled through time, history, and countless hands. A coin that could potentially be sitting in your pocket or resting quietly at the bottom of a dusty old jar in your home, and yet, it might be worth a small fortune. Yes, you guessed it, we're talking about the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1971. Now, you might be wondering, what could possibly make a simple 1971 penny worth anything more than its face value? And the answer will surprise you. Because one very specific version of this humble coin has stunned collectors and left even seasoned experts in awe, selling at a jaw-dropping price that could change your life if you're lucky enough to find one. Stick around, because in this video, we'll dive deep into the world of the 1971 Lincoln cent, uncovering its hidden value, rare errors, and why one version of this coin is worth as much as $50,000. That's right, from 1 cent to $50,000. Let's begin our journey. The year is 1971. America is in the midst of rapid change. The Vietnam War is ongoing, the Apollo missions have just placed man on the moon, and the counterculture movement is reshaping the nation's voice. Amidst all this chaos, the U.S. Mint continues its mission to produce millions of coins daily to fuel the country's economy. Among the most common coins, the Lincoln penny, already a national icon since its first introduction in 1909. By 1971, the Lincoln Memorial design had been used for more than a decade, replacing the wheat ears reverse in 1959. Abraham Lincoln's strong, noble profile remained untouched on the obverse, a symbol of unity, strength, and leadership. Now, let's get into the specifics. The 1971 Lincoln cent was produced at 3 major mints: Philadelphia Mint, No Mint Mark, Denver Mint, D Mint Mark, San Francisco Mint, S Mint Mark, mostly proofs. Combined, these mints struck over 5 billion pennies in 1971. That's right, billions with a B. Which begs the question, how can any of them possibly be rare? The truth lies in the details, because not all coins are created equal. Some come out of the minting process with unusual quirks, mechanical errors, or flawless condition that makes them stand out from the crowd. These are the coins that collectors go wild for. And the 1971 penny is no exception. Let's break it down into what makes this particular year so special. First, the mints and what to look for. The Philadelphia Mint struck the largest number of coins, and those pennies carry no mint mark. The Denver Mint, with the D Mint mark, also struck a massive number. But here's where things start getting interesting. And finally, the San Francisco Mint was responsible for proof coins, designed for collectors, mirror-like, highly polished coins never meant for general circulation. These coins bear the S Mint mark and were struck with greater care and precision. Among all these, hidden within the countless pennies, are the few gems that have become the stuff of legend. Now let's talk about what can turn a 1971 penny into a priceless prize. Point 1. The double die obverse, DDO, error. This is the crown jewel of 1971 penny errors. A double die obverse occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been misaligned during the hubbing process, creating a doubling effect on the design. In the case of the 1971 Lincoln cent, the doubling can be seen very clearly on Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date itself. If you spot doubling with the naked eye, especially strong, clean lines around the letters or numbers, congratulations. You may be holding a rare treasure. These coins are rare. Very rare. And demand from collectors is through the roof for verified specimens, especially those in high-grade uncirculated condition. Point 2. High-grade circulated coins. Even without errors, some 1971 Lincoln cents are worth more simply because of their extraordinary condition. Most coins lose their luster after years in circulation. They get scratched, dirty, worn, and dinged, but occasionally, just occasionally, a coin manages to survive in near-perfect, mint-state condition. These coins are graded by services like PCGS and NGC, and they use a scale from MS60 to MS70. The closer to MS70, the higher the value. A 1971 penny graded MS67 red can already fetch serious money, and the price only climbs if it includes a rare error variety. Point 3. Off-center and misaligned die errors. Another exciting find is a misaligned strike or an off-center penny, where the image is stamped improperly on the blank. Depending on how much of the design is missing and whether the date is still visible, these can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Even small striking errors can turn heads at coin shows and auctions. Point 4. Repunched mint mark, RPM. In 1971, some coins from the Denver and San Francisco mints were struck with mint marks that were repunched, meaning the original mint mark was impressed again at a slightly different angle or position. These varieties, while subtle, are highly collectible and often go unnoticed by casual observers. Now here's the moment you've been waiting for. Among all the circulated 1971 pennies ever discovered, there was one specimen that stood out beyond belief. This coin was not only struck with the famous double die obverse error, but it was also in near flawless condition, maintaining its brilliant red tone with full luster and no wear marks. It was submitted to PCGS and graded MS66 red, making it one of the highest graded examples of this error ever found, and when it hit the auction block, the bidding war was nothing short of electrifying. Seasoned collectors, investors, and rare coin dealers recognized this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and finally, after a whirlwind of excitement and rising numbers, the auctioneer's gavel fell. That tiny 1-cent coin sold for a stunning $50,000. Yes, you heard that right, $50,000 for a 1971 Lincoln penny that most people would walk past on the sidewalk without a second thought. So here's your call to action. Start checking your pennies, look at your change, search those forgotten jars and drawers. Inspect every 1971 penny you come across, especially the ones with strong doubling, clean surfaces, bright red luster, or unique mint marks, because hidden among them could be the next great discovery, a coin that could change your life, 1 cent at a time. Today's video is going to take you on a surprising journey into the story of a penny that most people never think twice about. It's small. It's copper-colored. It jingles quietly at the bottom of your pocket. And yet, one rare version of this coin has shocked collectors and experts by selling for an incredible fortune. Yes, we're talking about the United States of America 1-cent Lincoln penny from 1981. Now, to most people, a 1981 penny is just another old coin, worth only a single cent. After all, they're everywhere, right? But here's where things get interesting. Because what if I told you that there's a rare variety of the 1981 Lincoln penny that collectors dream of finding? A coin that could turn one lucky individual into a small-time millionaire overnight, or at least $54,000 richer. You heard me right. This isn't just another penny, this is a potential goldmine hiding in plain sight. So, stay with me as we uncover everything you need to know about the 1981 Lincoln penny, its history, its mints, its rare errors, and how just one of these coins, if it's the right one, can be worth more than some people's yearly salary. Let's go back to the early 1980s. The year is 1981. Ronald Reagan has just taken office as President of the United States. MTV is preparing to launch. The IBM personal computer is about to revolutionize the world. Gas is cheap, the economy is unstable, and inflation is on everyone's mind. Meanwhile, over at the US Mint, billions of coins are rolling off the presses. Among them, the Lincoln cent, which had already become one of the longest-running coin designs in American history, introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. This penny had become a staple of American life. But 1981 was no ordinary year for the Lincoln cent. It was the last full year that the U.S. Mint would strike the Lincoln penny using the traditional bronze alloy, a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Why does that matter? Because starting in 1982, due to rising copper prices, the Mint made the major decision to switch to a cheaper, lighter zinc core with a thin copper plating. So, the 1981 penny marks the end of an era. It's the last of the true copper Lincolns. The last of the classic weight. And that already gives it some collectible charm, but that's just the beginning. Let's break down the 1981 penny by Mint. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 7.5 billion pennies. These coins have no mint mark. The Denver Mint added another 5.4 billion coins. These bear the D mint mark, and finally, the San Francisco Mint produced over 4 million proof coins, intended for collectors. These have the S mint mark and were struck with high-quality dies and polished planchets. So, with billions made, what could possibly make one 1981 penny so valuable? It comes down to three things: rarity, error, and condition. Let's look at each one. First, the transition to a new mint mark style. In 1981, the U.S. Mint was preparing for a massive change. In 1982, they would move away from hand-punched mint marks and start using machine-punched marks instead. This means that 1981 was the last year that mint marks were applied by hand. This process was not perfect, and that's exactly what created valuable varieties, especially RPMs, or repunched mint marks. A repunched mint mark happens when the mint mark was struck more than once, slightly off from the original position. And for the 1981D and 1981S cents, these varieties exist, and they are highly collectible. In some cases, you can actually see two DS, one punched over the other at a slightly different angle. Collectors absolutely love this kind of variety, especially when it's dramatic and easy to see without magnification. Next, let's talk about proof coins. The 1981S proof pennies are beautiful, shiny, and mirror-like, but that year, something odd happened. The mint accidentally released two different types of S mint marks. Type 1 had a blurry, less defined S. Type 2 had a sharper, clearer, more delicate S. The Type 2 proof became the rare one, and today, it's worth a premium. But again, only if you can find it in perfect condition, which brings us to the final key to value: condition. 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 Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70. The higher the number, the more perfect the coin, and when we talk about real money, we're talking about coins that grade at MS67, MS68, or even MS69 for regular strikes, and PR69 or PR70 for proofs. These are flawless coins, with no scratches, no dings, no discoloration. Bright, bold luster. Full strike. Sharp detail, and when you combine a rare error or variety with that kind of pristine condition, something magical happens. Collectors go wild. Now let's talk about one specific penny that shook the coin collecting world. This was a 1981D Lincoln cent, discovered with a dramatic repunched mint mark, perfectly preserved in bright, red uncirculated condition. It was graded by a top-tier grading service, PCGS, and given a mint state 67 red grade, which is extremely rare for a copper coin that's been in circulation for over 4 decades. Once it hit the auction block, collectors knew it was something special. Bidding started modestly, but quickly escalated as coin dealers and private collectors fought for this unique, historical piece. After a whirlwind of offers and counteroffers, the final gavel fell. That one copper penny, struck in 1981, sold for a stunning $54,000. Yes, just one penny. $54,000, not bad for a coin that most people would have tossed in. A tip: JAR.SO, here's your mission: dig out your old coin jars. Go through your loose change, look carefully at every 1981 penny you come across, check for that D mint mark, and then check again to see if it looks like it's been punched more than once. Hold it under a light. Look at the shine, check for any signs of doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual features, and if you have proof coins from 1981, especially those with a sharp, Type 2S mint mark, treasure them, because you never know, you could be holding the next rare Lincoln cent that turns your copper change into a life-changing payday. Today's video is going to take you deep into the world of numismatics, the exciting universe of rare and valuable coins, and focus on one small, often overlooked piece of American currency, the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent penny with mint mark. Now, most people would glance at a penny from 1977 and think nothing of it. It's just a regular coin, right? Toss it in a jar, give it as change, maybe even ignore it if it's a little worn or dirty. But what if I told you, that same penny sitting at the bottom of a drawer or wedged between your couch cushions, might actually be worth more than your car, or even your salary for the year? Yes, you heard that right. One specific variety of the 1977 Lincoln penny has stunned the coin collecting community, after a rare, nearly flawless example sold for a jaw-dropping $59,000 at auction.so. How could a coin worth just 1 cent become a 5-figure treasure? Let's dive into the full story. To begin with, let's rewind the clock back to 1977. It was a time of big cultural shifts in the United States. The disco era was in full swing, Star Wars had just exploded into theaters, and Jimmy Carter was sitting in the White House. But over at the U.S. Mint, something else was quietly happening. Billions of pennies were being struck, more than 8 billion, to be exact. And on the surface, these coins looked just like the millions that came before them. They featured the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner back in 1909 to honor Lincoln's 100th birthday. On the reverse side, The image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., introduced in 1959. But as with all mass-produced items, especially coins, tiny variations and rare errors occur from time to time. And for the trained eye, these differences can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Let's talk about the mint marks first. In 1977, Lincoln cents were struck at 3 U.S. mint facilities. Philadelphia Mint. Coins from this mint had no mint mark. Denver Mint. These carried a D mint mark, located just beneath the year on the coin. San Francisco Mint. These were proof coins marked with an S, struck in small quantities with highly polished dies. Now, here's the key, not all 1977 pennies are created equal. What you want to look for are the rare varieties and minting errors. These are the hidden gems that can send the value of a 1-cent coin skyrocketing. Some of the most valuable 1977 Lincoln penny varieties include 1. Double die obverse, DDO. This occurs when the die that strikes the coin has been impressed twice with slight misalignment. It creates a doubling effect, especially noticeable on the date, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." These errors are incredibly sought after by collectors. Point 2. Off-center strikes. A dramatic off-center strike, especially one that still shows the date clearly, can make a 1977 penny very valuable. If the coin was misaligned during the striking process and you can see a crescent of blank planchet along the edge, that's a good sign. 3. BIE error. On some Lincoln cents, a die crack forms between the letters B and E in Liberty, making it appear as if there's an extra letter, I. These are called BE errors and, while not as rare as double dies, are still fun finds with added value. Point 4. High-grade mint state, MS, coins. Even if your penny has no visible errors, it can still be valuable if it's in pristine condition. Most 1977 pennies went into circulation immediately, meaning they were scuffed, scratched, or worn down fast. But once in a blue moon, someone put one away in perfect shape. If that coin is later graded by PCGS or NGC and receives a mint state, MS, 67 or higher, its value can skyrocket. Just imagine, a coin you might ignore because it looks too ordinary, might actually be hiding tens of thousands of dollars in value, especially if it has just the right error, strike quality, and condition. So how do you tell if your 1977 penny is one of the rare ones? Here's what to do: use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look carefully at the date and the letters, checking for any doubling or unusual marks. Check the alignment. Is the design perfectly centered? If not, you might have an off-center strike. Examine the mint mark. Look for anything unusual, like doubling or repunching. Check the surface. A high-quality, lustrous, shiny copper-red surface is a strong indicator that you may have a high-grade coin, and if it looks promising, don't just guess. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. A certified grade gives you proof of value, and it's the only way to truly unlock the coin's potential at auction. Now, you're probably wondering, has this actually happened before? Yes. And the results were jaw-dropping. Point 1. Particular 1977 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint, was discovered in immaculate, gem-red uncirculated condition. It had full detail, no visible wear, and a flawless, glowing copper finish. The owner, not realizing its value, had saved it for years in a coin folder. But when it was finally submitted to PCGS, it came back graded at MS68 red, one of the highest known grades for this date. When this incredible specimen went to auction, collectors instantly recognized its rarity and condition. Bidding wars erupted, and in the end, this simple penny, just 19 mm wide and weighing 3.11 grams, sold for a stunning $59,000. Yes. $59,000 US. That's not fiction. That's real. And it's all because someone took the time to look twice at a coin everyone else ignored. So, here's what I want you to do: dig into your coin jar. Open up that old piggy bank. Check under the couch, in the car, in your junk drawer. Look for any penny dated 1977, especially those with the D or S mint mark. Examine it closely. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, or perfect condition. Because if you find the right one, you're not just holding history, you're holding serious cash. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more stories about coins that changed people's lives, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. There's so much hidden treasure in your change, and I'll help you find it. Until next time, happy collecting, and keep an eye on those pennies. One of them might just be worth $59,000.